conditions. As you can see, there are still little wet patches on the track as we're going to take a look at the grid today. You just heard that young Scott Sharp is on the pole today in that Rain X Camaro, and outside of him, a very familiar face to us all, Bill Saunders on the Highwaymaster team.
On row 2, inside we've got Dorsey Schroeder, a two-time winner this year, and outside him Tom Kendall, leading the championship but yet to win a race. Tommy Kendall, of course, looking for his first and vital win here this afternoon if he wants to win that championship.
And of course, Dorsey Schroeder is not yet out of the championship hunt himself. He still is mathematically alive, so a hungry driver sitting alongside Kendall. Going back to row 3, the fastest qualifier, picking up 5 valuable points, Ron Fellows. He is desperate to keep his championship hopes alive, and outside of Ron, Brian Till, who was the fastest runner in the dry session. So Brian outside with the second picket car.
Then back onto row 4. Inside is Jamie Gallus, Ron Fellows' teammate in the Camaro, and of course Boris said with his new paint job there in the number 4 car. New sponsors, new paint. Of course, Boris had a very dramatic exit from the last race we saw from Watkins Glen, looking to do better here this afternoon.
The strength of the car is always appreciated. Back into row 5, inside number 5, Paul Gentilozzi. Outside of him in the Valvoline car, it's Brian Simo, the No Fear Man.
Then on row 6, inside Dale Phelan, and outside him is Tim McAdam. Tim McAdam, of course, running for Rookie of the Year this year in the Trans Am, in the world's best oil-sponsored Camaro.
As we're looking back through the field, you can see the car is getting wheeled into position. Bryce Cobb will be on row 7. Not a great qualifying position, but with his experience, you can never count him out. Outside, the perennial amateur, Jerry Simmons, down from Ancaster, Ontario, Canada, the number 76 Camaro. There's Jerry right there. And the rest of the field looks like this. Back on row 8, we have Don Sack alongside Ray Kong making his return to the Trans Am. Row 9, young Rob Rizzo alongside of John Gooding, a pair of the Roush teammates. Ford occupying all of row number 9. Right behind them in row 10, Bruce Nesbitt and R.J. Valentine. Back into row 11, John Miller IV. That's a pretty exotic sounding name, alongside of Phil Bartelt, who, as he will tell you, is making his last run today of the 95 season. Another great amateur driver, always tries hard. Bruce Barkaloo and Bill Eagle in row 12, Max Legod and James Moyer in row 13, all Chevrolets back here. And row 14, Tony Ave and Trent Terry, who were put to the back of the field because of a slight rules infraction that we will talk about later on. Well, the racing is about to start here at Road Atlanta. The sky is dry right now and the pavement is drying as we speak. Don't go away, and we'll be back with the start of the Road Atlanta Trans Am Classic. Welcome back to the beautiful Road Atlanta track here at Brazelton, Georgia. This race is about to get underway. Cars are firing up as we speak. Looking at the car on the pole today, that is Scott Sharp, of course, past Trans Am champion, sitting in the car normally occupied by Greg Pickett. Greg decided to give it over to the younger, faster member of his family, I suppose, and maybe Greg's at home watching the Raiders play. Greg, I wish I was with you in that case. You can see the track is drying out quickly, but that should be a fairly serious problem on the opening laps, David, because it really reduces the number of safe spots to pass.
Yeah, it's one of those interesting combinations, a drying track like this, but of course they will do one pace lap, so they'll get a good idea. That's the sort of thing that's going to be a problem. Water running across the track. We've had so much rain the last couple of days. I don't think that's ever going to dry up as the race goes on.
Well, these cars, once they get going and the tire is up to speed, we'll be having hot tires to try and make it away. We also have radio communications with that man right there, the number 15 Highwaymaster car of Bryce Cobb. And David, let's give him a call.
Hi, Bryce, are you there?
Yeah, David, how you doing?
Well, I'm doing fine. What does the track look like to you? I can see it's pretty damp in a couple of spots, but otherwise not too bad.
Yeah, honestly, it looks like on the line, except so far through just the apex of turn 1, we've got a dry line, Dave. The difficulty for all of us, though, is that I think there's only one car, if any, that have anything but brand new tires. It'll be tough to get them up on the first lap.
Now, Bryce, you didn't qualify very well. The weather was all messed up over the weekend. You're back in 14th spot. It's going to be a bit of a struggle to get to the front, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd like to think not, but I hazard a guess you're right. I'll just have to be real aggressive.
Well, he can temper aggression with experience. Price, one of the most experienced drivers in this field, has had victories in virtually every type of car imaginable. So you couldn't put a better driver in that car right now. You see the windshield wiper in place. That they all hope they are not going to be using those today. Highwaymaster car going around the track here, number 15 of Price Cobb.
Yeah, he's slotted right in the middle of the field here. He's in 14th position, which is almost exactly the middle. He's got some pretty stiff competition in front of him. You can see there how the track pretty predominantly now is dry, and as he says, it'll soon really finish off drying out. But getting past people around here is not easy. You've got a couple of points on this track where you can really overtake. Other than that, it's all you know, the cars use all the road up, and it's kind of hard to get around people.
Yeah, I recall last year, for example, that the race leader, there's a nice shot of Price, and of course the winner back at Phoenix, the first race of the 95 Trans Am Series, and a really fine driver. So he is going to have his hands full, and as he just admitted that he too is concerned about trying to get these brand new tires to get some sort of temperature on this pace lap. Chris McClure, what do you think?
I think that's exactly the case. 3 of the top 5 in the field have brand new tires, but Tommy Kendall and Ron Fellows have scrub tires. That may give them an early advantage. And as far as who's going to win this race, as we get a little bit of a sprinkle in the pit, I think Tommy Kendall is due and ready.
Well, it appears there's one man that definitely has the odds stacked against him right now, and that's Tony Ave. He is off the track and stuck. Now, perhaps Tony was trying to warm up his tires with the combination of cold tires and dampness. He has spun someplace, so I'm sure the pace car will be doing one more lap to give them a chance to get Tony back onto the track and resume his position at the back of the field.
Well, Tony Ave's day not going like it's supposed to at all. Pace car lights obviously still on at this stage, as he's going to have to go around again. We'll be on a full course caution now while they get Tony Ave's car out of that ditch.
This will work to everyone's advantage. They get one more lap to try and scrub their tires in, so we'll take this word for a commercial and be right back with the racing. Well, back at Road Atlanta just a moment ago, this is what happened. The wrecker was able to pull Tony Ave out of the mud, so he will rejoin at the back of the pack where he started, except this time he is at least a lap behind the field. Right now, let's go for a report down to Chris McClure.
We're with Dan Banks talking to Tom Kendall right now, explaining what to do on the start coming back around. Danny, the skies are getting a little darker. How quickly would you pull the trigger on rain tires?
Well, we sort of leave that up to Kendall. Depending on if there's standing water, we'll probably go to rains fairly quick. Right now, if there's a dry line, I think if all the cars stay in a row there, it'll dry it out pretty good. We'll just keep on dries. If it comes to a downpour, we'll try it.
That's the story. We're just anticipating, but it is sprinkling just a little bit on the pits.
Okay, David Hobbs, now it is showtime. Who do you pick to win?
Well, based on the law of averages, I'm going to pick him, number 11, Tommy Kendall, because he is, with the way the qualifying went this weekend, he's in 4th spot. The main guy in front of him is Dorsey Schroeder, who he's going to have a lot of difficulty getting around, but I think if he can get around him, he'll be home free. And Ron Fellows, in turn, has got to get around Tommy Kendall. So I'm going to go for Tommy Kendall. Tommy won.
Well, I'm going to go with the guy on the roll. I'm going to go with Ron Fellows, because he has been just unbelievable of late, and I still have not seen any chinks in the armor. The car looks solid. The Will Moody preparation is always great, and I think Fellows is inspired. He can see the championship closer than it has ever been before. So, Ron, you're my man today. You can see they are just down through the dip, getting nicely lined up. The pace car does have the lights off at this point. We expect he will duck into pit lane as they come up over the top of that hill where David Hobbs left trails of rubber years ago, and glad that you're here with us.
Left them. Sure did leave trails of rubber.
Lots of smoke. You can see Scott Sharp on almost a little bumping there.
Oh, there was a bump.
Is that a little psychological game or intimidation maybe? It looks like he's under the throttle very early, Scott Sharp is, as they're coming down. No start. He was on the gas way too early. SCCA officials have deemed that was not close enough. But they do get a chance to warm up their tires. Now, each of these laps, by the way, is counting. So, although they are slow laps, the length of this race is being reduced every time around. They should try and make a reasonably quick lap around here to try and get their tires up to a temperature, maybe reform at the end of the back straight, and hope to do a cleaner start this time.
One of the things they're going to have to put up with, you know, there's mud on the track now because it rained so heavily on Friday and Saturday that you can see where the water's run across the track. It's dragged that Georgia clay, so they're going to have that to contend with. And as it dries out, that in turn, of course, will turn into fine dust, which gets on everything and tends to make the surface pretty slippery. Down here at turn 6 is one of the few places where the track looks extremely clean, and of course this is a place where we're going to see a lot of overtaking efforts, I think, coming into here, because it's smooth, it's wide, and it's a good corner to outbrake people into.
Yeah, that really does look good down there. The track appears in fine condition at this far end of the straight, and of course just around this corner is where Tony Abbey spun. Let's get back down to Chris McClure.
Well, during the races, Tom Ebersol handles Bill Saunders' car. Bill on the front row like he was at Portland. Was his approach and demeanor any different than then when it was a first?
Absolutely, it was different at that time. Right now, he's pretty comfortable being up there. He knows all these guys, and he knows that he's supposed to follow Scott through the first corner. That's what he tried to do, but Scott wanted to run early. And he got boxed out by Dorsey, and then it really looked like the SCCA officials were on top of this thing, and they called it off. I let him run down through here, and then I told him that there was no green, so he didn't run over Scott.
Okay, good luck to you. Have a good day. Tom Ebersol. He talks to Bill Saunders, who's more comfortable this time up front.
Yeah, he appeared very comfortable. We saw him just before the start of the race in the Highwaymaster hospitality area for our ice cream, and he was quite confident.
Hi, Price Cobb, are you still there, Price?
David, how you doing?
Well, you're not doing very well so far, Price. You're 4 laps into this race and you haven't passed anybody yet. What's up?
Hang on, if I can't do it with footwork, it's got to be the other thing, huh?
Well, good luck. You're coming down to my favorite spot, the dip at the end of the straight, so keep it on the straight and narrow there, and good luck, and I'll leave you alone now.
You guys.
Price Cobb in that other Highwaymaster car, the number 15 car, also looking forward to a really great race. Tim McAdam alongside number 28, World's Best Oil. And there is Price. He is trying to figure out exactly where he can go on the drop of the green. Does he go inside, outside, watch for contact? Oh, it's a lot of cars.
Of course, another thing they've got to watch today on this start, I mean, very often you can put a wheel over the edge to squeeze by somebody, but not today, because that ground is absolutely sodden. So,
well, one more time around this final corner toward the starter stand. We'll watch up ahead for the green flag. There it is. The Trans Am Classic is underway down to turn 1, David.
And into turn 1, Scott Sharp has the inside line, and Dorsey Schroeder comes through with him, and Ron Fellows comes through with him too, and aces out Tommy Kendall right at the start of this race.
Boy, that's a shocker. I can't believe that Kendall allowed himself to get put into that position where he actually lost.
He just got boxed in. There was nothing to eat. Bill Saunders was in front of him and a little bit off the pace, and the inside line was significantly quicker than the outside line, which of course was led by Scott Sharp. So that's what happened to poor old Tommy Kendall, and so he's now stuck behind Ron Fellows. Hardly stuck behind Ron, of course.
Don Sack already making a pit stop. It appears that they're working on a wiper motor, although why they're doing that, that's certain. Now look at Highwaymaster car up the outside. Dorsey Schroeder and Ron Fellows both go by Bill Saunders. Fellows not content to let anybody get away at this point, almost touching Schroeder. Now they're on the back straight, the fastest section of the course. Look at that red dust getting blown up already. And way in the background it looked like Jamie Gallus almost trying to take Tom Kendall. He is. Jamie Gallus alongside Tommy Kendall down this long straight. Dorsey Schroeder goes to the lead, passes Scott Sharp, 175 miles an hour down through this dip. And look at the car twitch.
Dorsey Schroeder's cast incredibly quick down the straight, which these Fords are. There's no doubt about it. Tommy Kendall there again gets boxed in. Whoa, and there's that Price Cobb coming up.
Boy, I'll tell you one thing. Young Jamie Gallus is making a really stunning display right here, too. You can see he is right behind his own teammate, Ron Fellows. Scott Sharp now dropping back one more possession. Fellows slams up the outside, and Jamie Gallus also.
Jamie Gallus looks in a mood like he might be going after his teammate Ron.
Just amazing display right now by young Gallus. So Ford is leading right now at Dorsey Schroeder. Ron Fellows, Jamie Gallus, the two teammates from AER Racing. Buzz McCall's team down through the S's. Beautiful track here. Here's a replay, David. Take us through.
Coming down to that turn 6 area, there's Ron Fellows in the background, Sharp in the front. Dorsey Schroeder right behind him as they file through turn 6. Ron Fellows now comes right up to Dorsey Schroeder. And here we see that take for the lead down the back straightaway, and look at the speed that Ford's got as he slashes past Scott Sharp on that long, fast straight, 170 miles an hour down into that dip.
A real display of horsepower and driving there. As you can see, he was putting his car out of the damp part of the circuit, so took a bit of a risk there, because wheel spin, I think, would have put him sideways at a horrendous speed.
So, Dorsey Schroeder still leading this race. The car looking a little bit weavy as it goes through that dip, but then, of course, they are doing 170 miles an hour, loses all the road coming out of turn 11. Ron Fellows not far behind him, both of them putting a little bit of daylight between themselves now, and Jamie Gallus, and now Tommy Kendall's really on the warpath.
Tom Kendall maybe finally getting the bit in his teeth. There's a lot racing coming our way today, so don't go away. Welcome back to Road Atlanta. Bill Adam and David Hobbs, Chris McClure in the pits today, enjoying great Trans Am racing here at one of the great circuits of the United States. Down at the far end of the circuit, it looks like Fellows maybe is closing on Dorsey, David.
He is indeed. There's no doubt about it. He'll be past Door now. Let's see how quick the Ford is down this straightaway as they come off turn 7 here, scrubbing for grip. There's all that mud on the road on the exit to there. This is where the Ford's got the advantage. It pulls away down the back straightaway here. I think they've got good horsepower.
Why?
And then, of course, here comes Tommy Kendall, also going extremely quick down the straightaway. But when they get to the dip, that's Jamie Gallus there.
It certainly does look like the Ford does have some horsepower in that motor. And look at the Camaro closes right up under braking. Oh, and look at this. Now, here's a good chance.
Wow, if he pulls that off, it's a miracle.
He's going to get him. Down the inside,
Whoa.
Dorsey made a mistake. Ron Fellows is now our leader in this Trans Am. Dorsey just a fraction wide, and look at his windshield wipers going.
Which I'm sure he doesn't like, because that's probably started that accidentally, and that'll be smearing his screen. There's no doubt about it. The combination of Ron Fellows, his crew chief, Will Moody, and that Chevrolet is pretty dynamite when it comes to cornering and braking. It has got just tremendous grip compared to any other car out there.
It's a great balancing situation right now. It appears that the Fords have a little bit of a horsepower advantage. The Chevrolet is definitely the better car through the corner. Here's a replay, David.
I mean, this is coming to turn 12. These guys are going 135 mile an hour here. Not the sort of place where you want to be aced out. And Dorsey Schroeder gave him plenty of race room there. Had to lift out of the throttle to let him through, which, of course, will have put him back. Look at it again.
Boy, what a nice piece of driving on both drivers' parts.
Dorsey Schroeder absolutely had to give best, but Ron Fellows was not going to give up either.
And a good point, too. Those wipers just are enough to take away some concentration from Dorsey Schroeder. Let's get back down to Chris McClure.
Well, Ronnie Fellows has run to the front. He's running soft on the front in terms of tire compound. Last year, left front, you went 600. This year, 430, Will Moody. Is that a risk, a calculated one here?
It's a calculated risk. We thought with all the rain that the track would be pretty green, and it might be pretty hard to keep grip with a 600 left front. That's why we went with a 430.
And now you cross your fingers and wait.
Well, I think the weather is still in our favor in that regard.
I would have to agree.
A little bit of rain right now. I think we're all right.
Fellas, I have to agree with him. I think that's probably a good call at this point.
It sure looks like it's a good call, Chris, as Ron Fellows is stretching out a lead every lap a little bit more. And right now, Dorsey Schroeder is boxed behind.
Whoa.
Don Sack, almost contact
He
there,
did
in
touch
fact.
it, did touch him. Ooh, that's turn 4. That's pretty quick there.
And the next three competitors very tight. Look at how Kendall was able to close up because those cars were boxed in. Right on Jamie Gallus' back bumper now.
Look at the lead that Ron Fellows has got already. I mean, his car is just crushing this year, isn't it?
And Dorsey is leaving. Why is he leaving those wipers going?
They may not want to switch off. He perhaps can't find a switch. You know, when you're in the race car there, some of these things don't fall easy to hand. Maybe the switch has even fallen off.
Possibility. You can see Raynek's car all the way back in 5th place now. Scott Sharp, who is our pole sitter, has dropped back to 5th. Tom Kendall running up in 4th place, just off the bumper of Jamie Gallus' car. So great battles.
Drafting down the straightaway there. There's Boris said.
Boris said, and then look at this Highway Master Battalion. All three cars, nose to tail, down the back straight.
That made a good photograph for them. They'll get the publicity leaflet out.
I think they'd rather have it running 1, 2, 3 as opposed to back a few places, but back onto the front straight one more time. Ron Fellows is extending his lead very dramatically at this point. That is 2, 3, and 4. Dorsey, Jamie Gallus, and Tommy Kendall. Looks like
Gallus
Jamie's
going down the inside of Dorsey Schroeder. And Dorsey Schroeder slams the door on Tommy Kendall. Tommy Kendall trying to go around the outside of turn 2. This is going to be difficult.
Oh, just cannot quite do it. Very, very close battle. This is maybe the most impressive performance I have ever seen out of Jamie Gallus today.
Well, he's certainly driving very, very nicely this afternoon. And see, again, through those S's, the Chevrolet significantly outpacing the Ford as they come down through those S's round turn 5. And look at this, Ron Fellows already up to turn 6. Huge gap between him and 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, which we're looking at now.
Now, ideally, wouldn't Ron like to just be able to hold that? Here's a replay, David.
Coming off turn 12 there. Dorsey Schroeder coming down to the front straightaway. Jamie Gallus drafts him into turn 1, gets himself on the inside. Again, Dorsey Schroeder has to give best. Slight damp there. And Tommy Kendall's just right behind him. Thought he might follow through, but that didn't work.
I have been so impressed all year long with the stability shown by the two Buzz McCall cars. They are excellent. Now, if Chevrolet do win this race today, this will clinch the manufacturer's title. It is all over, so they will have the bragging rights for first and second, of course. So very important that they try and maintain these positions. Ford understand this, believe me, they're well aware of it, and I'm sure that both the Roush and Tom Gloy teams have been advised of this, so very important bragging rights. We'll take a look at the top 10 here. Ron Fellows continuing to lead, driving that beautiful Buzz McCall car. His own teammate, the perfect position. Jamie Gallus running the number 2 Camaro in second. Dorsey Schroeder, Ray Bestis Mustang running in third, the Tom Gloy stable. Then Roush with Tom Kendall, and back into Scott Sharp, I should say, is back in 5th place now. A lot more racing coming our way, so don't go away as the rains just start to fall once again. Long we have talked about threatening skies, and today the threat is coming true. It is raining a little heavier here at Road Atlanta. You can see there's a haze now. Ron Fellows occasionally flicking on that wiper. Here is the gamble that Chris McClure talked about earlier with Danny Binks. Look at the spray coming up
there off those slick tires under the bridge. Very slippery here. He slides down. Is he going to come? No. Going to stay out.
I think this is the important thing right now, that these cars do stay out.
Well,
second place.
It's going to be a brave man that decides to break off first. As you can see now, lots of people have got their wipers going. Maybe a help, maybe not. Jamie Gallus twitching as he goes into turn 1 there. Now then, the shower is sweeping across the circuit, so it's going to be different. You can see it there across the air. There's going to be wetter in some places than others.
And this is it's a huge gamble at this point because they don't know whether to do a tire change or not. Let's get down to Chris McClure.
Well, no one's come in for a tire change, but this is from Dorsey Schroeder's car. It might be in a little while. The crew getting out the rain tires. Rick, is he saying anything? Is the track going away dramatically?
He just said the track's getting a little slick, and we're just going to wait till see if they throw a red flag. We're not going to come in unless they do. We're running real well right now, so I'd like to stay there.
What if the leaders were to come in? Would you follow them at that point, and if they made the decision first?
I think we'd still hold out for red flag. You know, just have to wait and see on that one.
Okay, mind games, tactics being played out in the pits right now, but the track's going away. It's raining harder, guys.
David, what would you do?
Well, apart from the fact the old heartbeat right up in the mouth, I guess you'd just have to play it by the rules. Ooh, look at that spray now. I mean, this is going to get difficult.
Yeah, and that
once you start showing that much spray with slick tires, it's getting really slick.
Right at the end of the straight, too. That is the high-speed area here at Road Atlanta. Again, up over the crest, and delicate throttle application down through this section. You can see Dorsey does appear to be closing up a little bit on Jamie Gallus. Yellow flag coming out. It is being shown. Let's get down to Chris again.
It's interesting to note, I think, at this point with the track going away, 1993, Scott Sharp started on the pole in the wet twice and won, and he did it on slicks all the way. He never did come in, even if the opportunity presented itself, to go to rain tires. That's the kind of risk some folks will take. It's a tough call.
No, you know, and I think I tend to go that way. It's very easy to say that sitting up in the relative security and safety of the broadcast booth. But the problem is, if you do make a pit stop, as we're watching 65, that's Tony Ave coming in. If you do make a pit stop, it takes so long to do the tire change. And then if the track dries out again, oh, you're dead in the water.
But I also don't like the way that we have to wait for the red flag these days. I think it should be entirely up to the driver. And if he wants to come in and change tires and gets it wrong, just too bad. And if he gets it right, good for him, you know. This declaring races wet or dry and then stopping the race so that everybody can come in and change their tires. I don't see the real logic behind that.
No, I am in agreement with you on that. I think it puts more of the challenge to the driver where ultimately it should be. Ron Fellows is our leader right now, ahead of his own teammate Jamie Gallus. The two Chevrolet Camaros setting up front in a very nice position.
And as you can see, it's very wet along that straight. That's where the real wet is at the moment. Jamie Gallus right behind Ron Fellows there. So this will be playing into the hands slightly of the Fords. They can catch up under this caution period.
We'll take a look at standings. Chevrolet, of course, 1 and 2. Dorsey Schroeder, Tom Kendall, Boris said now up to 5th place, all driving for Ford. Dorsey and Boris, both from Tom Gloy. Scott Sharp, who is our pole sitter, back to 6th, but still hanging on. Then Paul Gentilozzi and Price Cobb with Rocket Sports. Brian Semo, the Valvoline car. Bill Saunders is back in 10th, so he is still holding good position. 11 through 15th looks like this. Brian Till, Tim McAdam, young Rob Rizzo, who's doing a good job for Roush this year, John Gooding, and Dale Fellon. We'll take this break for a few minutes of important messages and then be back with... Welcome back to Road Atlanta. Our threatening skies are threatening a lot more seriously than they were earlier today. You can see the rain is coming down at a very steady pace right now, making it miserable for the drivers, and you can even see there that puddles are starting to build up. Cars are still being led around this circuit by a pace car, waiting to see if the rain should subside or if it happens to get any heavier. We certainly hope it is the former. And now we're going to take a look at something a little different. While the pace car goes out here, we'll take a look at the latest Oldsmobile track fact.
Oldsmobile division is involved in many things in the racing world, both on the track and, of course, off the track. This is one of the things that they're involved in off the track. One of several PPG pace cars that do alternate in pacing some of the world's greatest drivers as a member of the PPG pace car team. Just a quick look at another Oldsmobile Motorsports activity.
Yeah, nice car, Chris. He gets all the good convertibles.
Yes, absolutely.
My
Beautiful
gee.
paint job.
It is gorgeous. Well, we have been advised that apparently a red flag may be shown this time around, and the cars will be stopped in the pits to put on the full wet tires. The crews do have them ready there. See, it will be a 15-minute stop. So, Ron Fellows, what would this do to you if you're leading the race?
I'd be pretty ticked off is what I'd be, to be quite frank. I'd want to stop when I want to stop. Mind you, I'd have stopped in conditions like this anyway and put them on 10 minutes ago, and now I'd be on my way again. But so they're all going to be led into the pit lane. They're all going to have 15 minutes in which to change their tires, by which time, of course, it will have stopped raining. And another hour or another 45 minutes, they'll come in again and change them all back to dry.
Well, it puts a premium on the pit crews today that they're going to have to maybe have their hands full should they go back to a dry weather condition. Now, these skies are still so unpredictable. They do not look like they will. They'll stay in a serious rain condition. It is just impossible to tell. Pace car will bring them all to a stop. The crews will not be allowed to perform any other maintenance other than tire changes. Let's get down to Chris McClure.
Yeah, there's a time limit on it, and you mentioned that already. They can go to rain tires. That's really the reason for the red, but they can also change the windshield. If they've got a regular race windshield in there and want to go to another one that's treated for the rain, they're allowed to do that. After that, they sit there with the car until they're ready to go back on the track, because that's all they can do.
Well, you heard it there. There's the voice of experience. That is the AER car. Ron Fellows coming to a stop. He is our race leader. And even the AER owner, Buzz McCall, was kind enough to hold an umbrella over Chris McClure. So I guess Chris is off slipping him a $5 tab for that one. Ron Fellows sits in the car. Back in racing in just a few moments.
When Aurora was ready to go, so were you. See what happens when you demand better? Aurora by Oldsmobile.
Until you try to win a championship, you think it's no big deal. But then you find out how tough it really is. And you realize you can't gamble on anything. Not on the car, not on the engine, and certainly not on the tires. You just got to go with the best. Goodyear Eagles, the proven winners.
Goodyear, #1 in racing, #1 in tires.
It isn't easy winning one of these things, and without Goodyear, it's almost impossible.
Power up with a power-engineered system from Competition Cams. Matching components for peak horsepower. Cams, lifters, springs, valves, rockers, timing sets, and push rods. An unbeatable system. Power-engineered components produce outstanding power and outstanding torque. Cam Help is your toll-free link to the Competition Cams technical department. Call 1-800-999-0853. You can't beat a power-engineered system from Competition Cams.
At the heart of the new Aurora is a powerful 32-valve dual overhead cam V8. It lets you drive 100,000 miles before your first tune-up. It lets you go up to 50 miles in the event of total coolant loss. And for anyone who wants to know how powerful it is, that was Texas you just drove through. It's your money.
Welcome back to Road Atlanta. Bill Adam, David Hobb, Chris McClure with you. The cars have made their pit stops. They now all have rain tires on them. And of course, now we're waiting for the sun to come back out, David.
We certainly are, Bob. Bill, rather, and from now on, these guys are on their own. If they decide to make another stop to change back to slicks, they have to do that at their own discretion, at their own choosing of time, and it is sunny outside now.
It's such a huge gamble that they are taking because you just don't know how long to stay. But Chris McClure had a chance to talk to two of the drivers, Tom Kendall, Ron Fellows.
Crews continue the tire changes here, putting on the reins. We're with Tommy Kendall, who came in the 4th position in the race. Obviously, conditions changing, but tell me about your race car. You got a good steed under you?
I think we do. You know, the Roush car felt good in the dry. It's always been good in the wet, so sitting behind that pace car for all those laps was frustrating, and I'm sure the fans want us to get going as well. So I don't care what they decide. Let's just drop the flag and get back at it.
Okay, what if it goes back to dry? How long can the tires last? Do you have when the decision begins to be forced?
They won't probably go much more than 4 or 5 laps if a dry line develops.
Okay, Tommy Kendall, he sits quietly. The crews along here are continuing to work, and we'll move up to the man who is leading the race at the occasion of the red flag in the number 3 AER Chevrolet, the man who is pursuing the championship behind Tommy Kendall and came to the front relatively quickly. That would appear to suggest, again, you got one on rails.
Well, the car was very good in the dry, there's no question. It's always a lottery when it's wet. It's really kind of a shame, but we'll just have to go out and do the best we can in these wet conditions again.
Well, the best he can lately has been awfully good.
It sure has, and one of the races that we saw Ron just absolutely dominate was the wet race out at Portland earlier. Now, as the cars form up to take the green once again, we'll take a look at the top 20 cars. Ron Fellows leads over teammate Jamie Gallus. Dorsey Schroeder, Tom Kendall, Boris said 3 through 5. 6th is Scott Sharp, Paul Gentilozzi, Price Cobb, Brian Simo, Bill Saunders, the other Highway Master car back in 10th place now. 11th through 15th is looking like this with Brian Till, Tim McAdam, Rob Rizzo. We just lost our graphic there for a second. We apologize. We'll get this right back. Ray Kong was the next in line, and then John Gooding, I believe, was 15th. Cars snaking around the track. They will be reforming as quickly as they possibly can, David.
Yeah, the pace car lights are off, so they're obviously going to go this time around. As you've already said, Ron Fellows put on a spectacular show at Portland in the rain, and the way that chassis of his seems to handle, I don't see this being a major problem. But as he said, the rain is always a bit of a lottery. There's no two ways about it.
Well, the pace car dives off the track, and they're ready to take green once again here at Road Atlanta. Now the gamble. You're on a strange racetrack, basically. You've got no practice. How deep you go to these corners? Well, Dorsey Schroeder is testing already.
And this is the tricky corner because the water runs across it, so it collects there a lot. And you can see it streaming off those tires of Ron Fellows at the front there.
Oh, and look at the spray behind the cars. These big rear deck spoilers just suck so much water off the track that for following vehicles, it's a huge problem. Brian Simo going up the inside of one of the Highway Master cars, over the curve actually, but was able to make the pass.
Boy, he did. That was Gentilozzi. He went round and look already. Ron Fellows is stretching out. Oh, and that car, the third spot car there of Dorsey Schroeder, snaking there as it went over that rain.
Here is where you try to apply. Oh, and look at this. The Rain X car, Scott Sharp.
That's Simo again, trying to get round Scott Sharp. He touched him going into the turn 5 complex.
Again, massive spray behind these cars. This is down the far end of the track. Brian Simo, he is on the charge right now. This young man is really moving this Tom Gloy car, the Valvoline car.
Very appropriate, of course. Brian Simo owns the No Fear clothing outlet, and he's certainly showing no fear at all this afternoon.
A very good point. They are onto the back straight. Now you're going to see a major wall of water being thrown up. Just look out behind Brian's car, showing there at 6th place, charging down the straight, where they were running 170 miles an hour. Now they're probably down to 140, in around that.
Look at the lead already that Ron Fellows has got. Here's Tommy Kendall struggling hard back there in 4th spot. Very bad spray. Wow, and here comes Simo, absolutely flying through the dip there. Scott Sharp following in the yellow. Number 6.
Brian Simo has been so impressive since he joined the Trans Am Series last year. He is relatively inexperienced, but my gee, he does a fine job in these cars. Jamie Gallus also doing a fine job today. Now, he had his first, well, actually, he had a great 1-2 finish at our last race at Watkins Glen, right behind this man. Ron Fellows winning Watkins Glen, and Jamie followed up with a strong second. They are running that way right now. Teammates 1 and 2. Very neat driving right there down through these S's. Just a tiny puddle at that one apex.
Ron Fellows, there you see Jamie Gallows in the number 2 car, lying second. Behind him, Dorsey Schroeder in the first of the Fords, but the Chevrolet. Whoa!
And a spin.
That was Dorsey Schroeder, spun coming out of turn 5. Oh, and he's gone off. He'll never get out of there. He'll be stuck.
He's going to have to be very careful. Oh. You can bet the wheels are spinning.
Boy, oh boy. I'm amazed.
I am too.
It just shows how good these Goodyear wet tires are. All that tread obviously grips pretty well.
This mud is very slippery, and for him to get out of that valley, the crater was a great job.
Boy, oh boy, that was amazing. Now we've got Tommy Kendall is up to 3rd spot. Does that allow him to come to grips with the 2 Chevrolets? It's looking unlikely.
A lot of passing going on back here.
That is Schrader again, wasn't it?
Dorsey,
back?
Yep, up alongside Scott Sharp in the Rain-X car. Normally Greg Pickett driving the number 6 car, but not today. And then I'm sure as Greg watches on TV, he's going to be glad that he's not here. Let's get a replay and watch what happened here. Back to Dorsey.
Here we see Ron Fellows coming up through the S's, making it into the turn 5 complex, which is this very tight left-hander here, very critical corner here, and just as he comes into there, we see Jamie Gallus going out in 2nd spot, and Dorsey applies the power just a little bit too early, backs her into the road there, is passed by, what, 3 people?
Yes.
Selects first gear and miraculously pulls it out.
And it's amazing. Well, it's important for Dorsey to do this. His championship hopes are a long way from being dead here. They are slim, but he still can become the 95 Trans Am champion. Was a winner here in 1989 at Road Atlanta, which was also the year that he went on to claim his Trans Am championship crown. Down through the S's, one more lap. We watch Dorsey Schroeder, who has slipped out of 3rd place now. We'll look at 1 through 5. Ron Fellows and Jamie Gallus leads Kendall, Sed, and Brian Simo up to 5th place.
It's Country Star Jamboree at Six Flags. Come join our bonanza of a celebration. Enjoy arts and crafts, special exhibits, festive foods, and foot-stomping shows every day, September 2nd through the 10th, plus weekends in September. Featuring in concert this Saturday, Joe Diffie. Pick up big savings on your Six Flags admission with discount coupons from Burger King. And come out for Country Star Jamboree, only at Six Flags over Georgia.
The 10th round of the 1995 SCCA Trans Am Championship is being brought to you by Ford and your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Well, Dorsey Schroeder just took his Ford for a little spin around Road Atlanta. And right now, the leaders are Chevrolet. There goes the Ray Vestas car, having rejoined the race. You have to apply the power so delicately on this condition, Dave.
You do, but there's no doubt about it. These modern race tires, modern wet weather race tires are absolutely extraordinary, and it's one of the developments that's really affected passenger cars. We now got some amazing all-weather passenger car tires which come from the racing. There we see Brian Simo, who, as you said, was up to the 5th spot, and look at that, there is a slight dry line developing. It's hot down here, it's about 78 degrees, it's very humid, admittedly, but the fact is, and look at this.
Major battle.
The 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
By gee, Ron Fellows has been caught by his teammate Jamie Gallus, and also Tom Kendall has closed right up. So I wonder if something is amiss with Fellows' car.
Must be either a miss with Fellows' car, or he got caught in traffic, or he might have put a wheel over the edge or something. But he has suddenly slowed up dramatically, falling into the grips. Now he's on his way again. He must have made a mistake. No, Tommy Kendall looks like he's going to try and come down the inside of Jamie Gallus.
I think Kendall is staying out of the spray right now. Let's go down to Chris McClure for a report.
Well, quick update. Dorsey Schroeder off. Of course, that lap was terrible in terms of time, but the following lap suggests he didn't hurt the car. His crew says he didn't, and he was right back to the pace he had been before the spin.
Yeah, you can tell his crew, Chris, that the car does look fine. I don't think there was any damage to his car, just a little bit of ego damage right there. Ron Fellows, it looked like he was losing control of that big cushion that he had, but apparently has been able to reestablish it, so maybe he is just being extra cautious passing these cars.
He must have been doing something to fall back into, because he soon pulled out again. There's Don Sachs in the Oldsmobile, lets the other two cars go by. Now Fellows going through 3 and into the 4, and as you can see there, the road suddenly drops away really steeply here as they disappear from view, start to swing right. Really quick right hand to that. Got to make a good apex on both these corners and try and cut straight through here to get a good break into turn 5. And of course, all of that is complicated immensely by the wet.
This is so difficult for Kendall right now because he naturally wants to get as close as possible to try a pass, but the closer he gets, the poorer the vision.
Exactly. You lose downforce, of course, because of the turbulence from the car in front, and you lose vision. It's really tricky.
Car number 50 is off. Oh, and once again, we're seeing the value of the Goodyear racing tires. That is Bruce Nesbitt. Amazing. I didn't think these cars had moved. The mud here in southern Georgia is so slippery. This red Georgia clay is unbelievable.
It's just like glue, and it gets in your clothes, and it never ever comes out.
Never does. You can see the race tires in these cars at the end of the season. You can tell when they were at Road Atlanta because they will all be stained by this red Georgia clay.
I remember doing the Formula 5000 race back here in 1972 with Al Unser, who went round all weekend with his jaw on the floor, kept saying, "Oh, I don't race in the rain, never race in the rain," because so he wins the race easily. And I had those white overalls, those old Goodyear white overalls, and he got covered in that red clay. It never did come out.
You were the first of the psychedelic driver of those coveralls.
He drove a tremendous race that afternoon. It was just like this too.
Once again, Ron Fellows appears to be slipping back a little tiny bit. Tom Kendall, I think, is charging very hard right now. We've seen on a couple of occasions on that lap, the back of his car.
As Boris said, is catching them all up. Boris said in the number 4 car with this new paint job, it used to be blue, now it's a nice, I don't know what you call that, pinky red. But whatever it is, he's slicing up through the field to catch up with Tommy Kendall in what is the lead Ford.
Boris said right there, the number 4 Whisk, Surefine, Tom Gloy, Mustang, Cobra, what have you? Goodyear shod car.
Yes. Engine, V8.
Kendall going around there. Our camera on board today, unfortunately, because of this weather, we are not able to bring you onboard photography to show you just how diabolical this truly is.
And we might add the reason we can't do that, of course, is because we can't have the helicopter, which we need to get the radio signal out of the car. The ceiling's too low, but the ceiling has definitely raised a lot. There is no rain out there at the moment. It could even break out into sunshine. And of course, down here in Georgia, if the sun comes out, it's going to be instantly very hot and will dry this track out very quickly. And then these guys are going to be having to make some tough decisions because these rain tires don't last very long once it really does dry out. And you can see the line is definitely forming there.
Yeah, it really is. And the rain tires are designed to try and vacate the water as quickly as possible and dry the little section of track these cars are going over. And what they're doing by throwing this spray up in the air is drying the track very quickly, even with an absence of breeze here today. Look at the line. You can see the rest of the track very shining. There's reflections off the race cars, but where the cars are around there. Oh, Jerry Simmons, number 76. Now, he may be stuck off the track.
He is well and truly stuck by the look of things in the gravel trap.
Just about where Dorsey spun. Yeah, he went off the outside. Now, that may cause a pace car to be brought out because that's quite a dangerous position right now.
Yeah, it is. Ooh, lap traffic now. This is going to throw a spanner in the works somewhat. No,
Dale Fellon is moving over as both the Camaros get cleanly by. Kendall, I'm not so sure. Tommy may have been blocked right there. Jamie Gallus almost had an opportunity to pass. Tom Kendall did get cleanly through.
This has really opened him up, or closed him up rather. Now then, Tommy Kendall's going to be able to use that draft from the Chevrolets down the straight. Mind you, rather him than me having to overtake anybody on the outside of the dip. And the 76 car, too, has got out of the gravel.
Well, Goodyear's rain/mud tires are doing wonderful things today to keep the race tight. Look at how close Kendall is, David.
Well, Jamie... Boy, oh boy, there's a bit of bravery there.
Man.
Wow.
Huge maneuver by Tom Kendall. Wow. You and I have both been through that section of track at high speed. Let's take another look at
this. Outside where it's wet, but ironically, gets on there. Jamie Gallus suddenly realizes he's been aced out of it, but doesn't give up, and they come up the hill here, and Jamie Gallus is still right behind Tommy Kendall. So, Ron Fellows now being chased by his chief pursuer in the championship. So now we have first and second in the championship, lying first and second in the race, but in the opposite order to championship form.
Man, that was tight to watch.
And of course, Tommy Kendall needs a win badly, because a lot of people are saying that it's not very good that he should be leading the championship by 15 points and still hasn't won a race.
Well, here's our full field rundown, which is brought to you by Ford. Ron Fellows continues to lead, but just barely over Ford mounted Tom Kendall, Jamie Gallus third. Boris said, Price Cobb and Brian Simo fourth through sixth. Dorsey, Scott Sharp, Brian Till in ninth. Paul Gentilozzi, Tim McAdam, teammates. Bill Saunders up into 12th. Rob Rizzo, Ray Kong, John Gooding, the other Roush car to 15th. Trent Terry, Bruce Nesbitt up to 18th. Dale Phelan, R.J. Valentine, and Jerry Simmons, who we just saw stuck off the edge of the track having a snowplow buried. Bill Eagle, Bruce Barclay, and James Moyer in 24th. Don Sack, Phil Bartelt, and of course Tony Ave, who we saw retire earlier with problems. And Tom Kendall goes for and gets the lead.
And traffic in front of him now too. Squeaking through there. Boy, oh boy, that Tommy Kendall's got an attack of the Braves. He's obviously been on the Brave pills today. That was a tremendous through the dip, comes up to the outside and goes wide onto the wet, off line, onto the wet stuff, slides down the inside of Ron Fellows, and I don't think that Ford's got the grip the Chevrolet's got at the best of times, and boy, look at that. But Tommy Kendall is on a mission this afternoon. He caught up with these guys. Can he pull away?
More incredible racing coming our way. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Road Atlanta, where we have a brand new leader in Tom Kendall. I think for the first time this season, we have just seen Ron Fellows pass during a race. That car has been virtually unbeatable, and it appeared it was going to be that way today, except Tom Kendall just drove by with unbelievable bravery.
Well, Tommy Kendall's car does seem to be extraordinarily quick down this long back straightaway, so he comes off the end of the straight with good speed. Now he's looking for water, see, going down offline there. Now he's looking for water to keep those rain tires cool, because there's a number of laps to go yet. It obviously is not going to rain again, and the track is drying out quick. So Tommy Kendall now looking for water to try and keep those tires under his car to the end of this race.
Let's get down to Chris McClure.
One thing, Tommy Kendall cannot talk to his pit. He can hear what's coming from Dan Binks and the others as they walk the action, come through the final turn and onto the pit straight. Like a man possessed is he, and I suppose with rain tires on, he's doing all the adjustments with the roll bar.
Right, we already adjusted those. We did that on the yellow, got the rain tires on there. He's just racing as hard as he can. We need the points. I mean, we're trying to win the championship. We need to be in front of Ron.
And you need a win. You really do.
We do. We had the one there at the Road America, and we didn't end up winning that. That was unfortunate. We need a win today.
Well, right now they're in the best position they could be.
Well, they certainly are, but what a gamble is approaching us as this track is quickly drying out. Remember, all of the drivers are on rain tires right now. How much of a gamble do you think this is for Ron Fellows? Maybe he is deliberately backing off to try and save his tires. You can see Tom Kendall way off the regular, quote, line at that point, trying to cool the tires, driving through the spray. So what do you think about a gamble on Ron's part, maybe backing off?
Well, I mean, it's all going to be a gamble from now on, isn't it? They're going to have to start looking for water. There's 14 laps to go. There's the Pontiac that we saw on the dirt a few minutes ago. Tommy Kendall running down the right-hand side of the straightaway here, looking for water to keep those tires cool. There's some really good water there. Got to be careful you don't run into a puddle at that sort of speed.
Yeah.
Down to the fastest part of the course, which is where he managed to dispatch two people in rapid succession and did an incredible job there. I mean, he just used every inch of road. And although I think he got there quicker than the others, you still got to get around him on that slippery track. He did a magnificent job doing that, because Ron Fellows, of all people, is not going to be passed easily. But look at that line there. I mean, really is pretty dry here. Swoops back to the other side of the road to pick up more water.
Yeah, and as he said, that he expected under race conditions that good rain tires may last 4 or 5 laps only. So that is not very long. There is third and fourth, a great battle right now. Jamie Gallus and Boris said are getting into it. So another Chevy versus Ford battle back in third and fourth.
So good to see Boris said too racing this car. They picked up some new sponsorship from Shorefire and Whisk, and looked at one stage as if we were going to lose Boris said from the championship this year, because he'd run out of sponsorship money. Came back now fully sponsored. We're going to see him for the rest of the year, and he's a young guy really that's done a lot of racing but never had a really good shot in a first-class team like the Tom Gloy Ford effort. There you see Tommy Kendall coming back out of the well. Now, Ron Fellows, interestingly enough, is not doing all that swooping all over the road. He is staying on the line, not so much concerned with his tires, doesn't seem at the moment.
Yeah, I wonder. Two distinctly different schools of thought. You can see Fellows a little bit of a power slide out on the straight.
We'll see now there's the power slide coming out of turn 7. Boris said behind Gallus. Now, do either of these two guys go into the wet?
Boris, yes, maybe a little bit. Let's get, well, for a report, let's get back down to Chris McClure.
Well, anticipating the changing racetrack, the sun is out here in the pits. Tommy Kendall can't call his crew and tell him if he wants to switch to slicks. They talked about that when they were stopped under the red flag, and basically is have them ready. When I'm on the pit road, we'll change the tires, because it's his call, but he can't tell him when he's made the call.
Well, that is a huge gamble, and how do you ever pull off the track and give up the lead? I mean, that's got to be the toughest thing of all to do.
I don't think anybody, as long as the track stays as well as it's staying, you know, offline, a lot of these guys are going to use that water and try and keep those tires cool. Boris said he's using the grass to keep his tires cool. There's plenty of water around here on that turn 4. Mind you, don't really want to be out that far. And through here, you don't want to use that water that's lying to the left of the screen as they come into turn 5. There's plenty of water there on the outside. So I think these guys are waiting game. And there's Tommy Kendall. See right in the water on the left. And Ron Fellows not bothering with it at all.
No.
Of course, it's the shorter way round, so it's saving him a bit of time. But
yeah, one of the other impressive performances right there. That's car number 15. And then you can see there's Dorsey Schroeder back up there. So Dorsey's making a real charge at it.
Dorsey Schroeder trying to get around Bryce Cobb. Bryce Cobb and Dorsey now lying in 5th or 6th position.
Yes.
So Bryce Cobb's had a great run up from 14th, and Dorsey Schroeder's been up, been back, and whoa, and power slide again. Boy, that looked good, didn't it?
Yeah, shades of the sprint car that Dorsey loves to drive like that.
Yeah, I have to.
Well, we're only a few laps before the finish. We'll take a few moments and have some important words from our sponsors. We'll look at the top 10 as we leave you. Tom Kendall continues to lead this race over Nemesis, Ron Fellows, Jamie Gallus 3rd, Boris at 4th, and Bryce Cobb all the way up to 5th place. 6 through 10 looks like this, and we'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to the Prime SCCA Racing Road Atlanta Trans Am Classic. Bill Adam, David Hobbs, Chris McClure. A real day of gambling as it has gone from dry to rain, and it is drying quickly once again. There is our leader, that is Tom Kendall, with only a few laps to go, desperately trying to conserve the tires, as is every driver right now. They are all on wet tires, and they're wearing out quickly.
Yeah, and of course this is where you've really got to be careful not to power slide the car too much. More traffic in front, that dry line there, very dry down through turns 12 and into turn 1. There's a bit of water on the inside here of turn 1, but not much. You can see it's very dry. Here's Ron Fellows in 2nd. No, that's not Ron Fellows.
Jamie Gallus. Ron Fellows all the way back to 4th place now. Boris said is up to 3rd. What has happened to Ron Fellows?
Well, maybe he's run the tires off his car, but I can't see why he would run his off significantly more than the others would, except that Tommy Kendall has been making very, very big efforts to keep his car in the wet that's there to try and keep his tires cool. Boris said's car well and whoa, a big traffic jam through there.
Boy, Jamie Gallus just having a major problem right now with Boris said. Boris was our winner earlier this year at Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, and he would love to notch up another strong finish.
Oh, Boris being badly balked here by some lap traffic.
In fact, you can see there's a lot of mud down the side of Ron Fellows' car. I wonder if he has had a little off-track excursion, perhaps?
Ron Fellows squeaking by one of those lap cars as they come around to turn 7. So there you have Jamie Gallus, Boris said, and Ron Fellows. So Ron Fellows, this is not good for his championship quest at all, because he came into this race 15 points down, 13 points down after qualifying, and a Kendall win here and 2nd place is not going to do him much good, but 4th will do him no good at all.
In fact, we just did get a report that Ron Fellows went off at turn 3, so that explains the mud down the side of the car. One of his uncharacteristic mistakes. Ron has been driving almost flawlessly this season. He has been the recipient of 2 very unfortunate incidents that have taken away all points from him, and has battled his way back. So Tom Kendall right now leading over Ron's teammate Jamie Gallus. Boris set up into 3rd. Ron Ron is 4th, just ahead of Price Cobb, who has had a spectacular charge.
He's had a great run too. You'd expect that. Price Cobb really hasn't done quite as well this year as I must say I thought he would going in. When I went to Phoenix and when Price Cobb was there and he won it, I wasn't the least bit surprised because I thought Price was going to have a great year. It just hasn't worked out quite like it should have done for him, but it is his first year in Trans Am, and he is obviously a strong driver.
Well, I think Ron maybe at this point is thinking his chances of winning today are gone, but if he were to finish ahead of Boris, then would Jamie maybe back off and allow his teammate to go through to collect those extra points?
Second, he should do. And of course, it's one of those things that a driver, you know, you tend to want to give up here. You think this has had it, we've had it. But I tell you what, racing is one of those things. Never, ever, ever give up, because it's never over till it's over. Till that flag drops, you just don't know what's going to happen.
No, so many times this year we have seen action happen on the last lap. Jamie Gallus now trying to go all over the track, had a little bit of cold rain onto his tires to make them last these last few laps.
And this, of course, this particular place here is particularly scary if you've got tires that you think might be on the blink. If you think the tread's going away on your tires and you're going through there at 155 mile an hour, you don't want the tread to come off the tire. And it does definitely wear on your mind to go down the straightaway before you get there.
It certainly would wear on my mind. Back down to turn 1, Jamie Gallus, you can see his car spattered by a little bit of mud. And of course the windshields in all these cars, well, they take the same sort of beating.
Ooh, RJ Valentine there in the 7th.
Nice job by RJ in the Pennzoil car. Moves out of the way for both of these cars going through.
Because it's so hard for the guys who are being lapped, because they're looking desperately in the mirror and trying to look at the front as well.
It is indeed. Now here's the battle between Price Cobb and Dorsey Schroeder. This is 5th and 6th places. They are locked in a serious battle, and they too, you can see the cars are sliding wide in the corner.
That lump of mud there is Ron Fellows' mud.
I believe it is. That was turn 3, so that's where Ron went off and was able to rejoin.
Ooh, Price Cobb having his work cut out here to hold off Dorsey Schroeder. That's where Dorsey spun just a moment ago. Right under the bumper. As they come down to the turn 6, is he going to be able to go the long way around?
Well, I don't think Price is going to let him. He's going to make that car slide as wide as he can.
Dorsey there now, slip through on the inside now. Dorsey, that's what I do.
Dorsey. Oh boy, he's driving that car sideways today.
Yeah, and it goes the more he does that.
Oh, and that's Brian Till on the track.
On the 6th car there.
Now, if that car requires a pace car, if you're Ron Fellows, do you gamble? Do you dive in the pits for dry tires?
Don't ask all the questions like that.
Oh, well, maybe this is the chance for Ron Fellows, but there's probably only 6 or 7 laps left, I would think. Major gamble.
They may not bother with a pace car because to get a pace car out is going to take 3 or 4 laps. It's going to leave you about 3 laps of green flags.
And it's a relatively safe spot, too, because it's the slowest corner on the track. So we are being advised there is a full course yellow, so whoa, here we go. Now you can bet the crew chiefs are talking to the car saying, okay, do you come in for slicks? Do you leave the rain tires on? Oh, man, this is the gamble time. Well, we'll find out exactly what does happen right after these words. Well, we are back at Road Atlanta, and if you like gambling in Las Vegas, you will love this racetrack because it is a place to be. You can see the line is drying out as they're trying to pull Brian Till's car out of this sand trap. One of the safety features around the edge of the track. And look at how clean this is becoming. Let's get down to Chris McClure.
The call has been made for a second Highway Master car to come in. This one is Price Cobb. On the right side of the car, 2 slicks will go on, then they'll have to go to the other side. They can only have 3 people over the wall to work on the car, so these changes take a long time, but they've decided they simply can't get anything out of the rain tires. What's left underneath, they've gone to slicks.
Well, I think it's perhaps a good call if you're further back in the pack, but Price was so far up. I don't know if I agree with that, David.
Well, of course, the thing is now that we're getting down to like 6 laps to go. I think next time by will be only 5 laps, and I think you're rather off to let the tires last for 5 laps and stop at this stage and put slicks on.
Well, you can see who is out of the race so far, and we're going to be coming back with the final few laps. Action is endless at this race today, and we're going to find out who wins the Trans Am Classic at Road Atlanta. Only Only a few laps to go here at Road Atlanta. They're attempting to get Brian Till's car out of that trap, just right back in the distance. You can see the tow truck working, trying to get it away. There, they're just hooking it up right now. In fact, they have got it clear of the trap. So hopefully we will be able to resume green flag racing in just a moment. We apologize for a little bit of mist on our camera lens, but this heat and humidity is giving difficulties to everybody, not just the drivers. Brian trying to get around here without damaging the car. These cars do not have great turning circles. Not the thing to go shopping with.
No, and they don't like donut turns either.
No, they don't.
Too heavy. And
how do you make a U-turn in one of these cars, David?
With difficulty.
It is. Pace car down through the dip one more time. Now, we never get a chance very much to talk about what fills these tires. But earlier, Chris McClure found out.
Bottled nitrogen is drier and more stable than air. Therefore, it has a number of applications in any race team. First application has to do with the tires. When they get them from Goodyear, they take out the air, they put in nitrogen, and when it heats up, it builds the pressure more predictably. Very, very stable. Same thing applies to the shock assembly. 250 pounds of pressure in here. When the heat builds, the nitrogen pressure builds more predictably. In the case of the tire gun, it's a matter of convenience. They can get the nitrogen easily to the pits. They hook it up here. They run the gun. It's also drier going through the mechanism so it doesn't wear out. Now, this other one is also a matter of convenience. A Rocket Sports crew member built this. It goes in the side of the car. You attach it here. What they call the bowling trophy then becomes a lifting mechanism for the car. When they're on the pad, they just simply lift it up just like that.
It is very predictable because nitrogen does not hold the same moisture content that air does, and as a result, when these tires do heat up and they get very hot, racing temperatures well over 200 degrees, you don't get that same expansion. So the predictability is so important. They love consistent race cars. Well, the cars are going around one more lap here behind the pace car. Now, Tommy Kendall came to Atlanta a day early this week to visit the Salvation Army's Bellwood Boys and Girls Club in downtown Atlanta. With an audience of nearly 75 kids, Kendall talked about racing and signed autographs, but more importantly, he spoke about following your dreams and setting goals to reach them. As a volunteer for Racers Who Care, Kendall visits groups of children and teenagers at almost every Trans Am event.
That is any of my racing accomplishments, mainly because all the championships I've won.
A really nice effort by a really nice guy, Tom Kendall. And Tom Kendall is our leader right now. Now, this is kind of strange, David. You can see him trying to keep temperature in the tire.
Well, pace car light's just gone out. You do need a little bit of temperature in the tire, of course, but most important at this stage, they need tire under the cars. We saw Bill Saunders' tire. Now, Bill wouldn't have worn his tires out quite like our front runners would have done, but on the other hand, this long yellow period has probably saved the day for any hard-taking decisions, because they're going to be able to run the final 3 laps without any problem.
Well, they're just taking one last look at the back straight before they see the green flag. This is what our top 10 looks like. Tom Kendall continues to lead over Jamie Gallus. 6 through 10 is like this. We'll be right back with the exciting finish. Pace car peel off the track and drop into the pits, and we will have our final few laps of racing here. And boy, what a gamble, David. I don't know what I would do.
Well, I think the gamble's been taken away from them, Bill, by this extended caution period. We've only got 3 or 4 race laps to go, and I think that all these guys are going to be able to keep it going through that length of time. We saw Gooding's tyres, and we saw Bill Saunders' tyres. They weren't that bad, and it's going to be tricky, though.
Well, Max Jones, team leader, looking, and he's watching for Jamie Gallus. And Gallus is very close to Kendall. An extremely good start by Jamie Gallus. Challenging up the outside. Tom Kendall making a defensive move down the inside. And looking back in 3rd place, Boris said, right up on the tail of Gallus.
Boris said they're thinking seriously about taking 2nd point away. And, of course, holding off Ron Fellows in the Chevrolet.
Now, one of the difficulties, you can see there is a dry line all the way around, but to try and pass, you have to gamble there and go on the wet.
And, of course, you lose a lot of grip by doing that, and I think these guys are going to gamble on the fact that they can do 3 laps to go on this dry track and not tear those tyres up. As Tommy Kendall said at the beginning, or rather when he changed tyres, 3 or 4 laps on these wets is about all they'll take in the wet, in the dry, and that's all they've got, 3 laps.
And already Tom Kendall decides to go over onto the wet part of the track to try and salve whatever he can. Meanwhile, Ron Fellows, it appears, has dropped back even further. He has lost his 4th place now.
Jamie Gallus hanging on gallantly here too. Tommy Kendall. Tommy Kendall looking for some water.
Somebody well off the track there. That's Scott Sharp was way off. Look at again, Fellows' car. The front of his car is covered with mud. So Ron may have had another off-course excursion. John Gooding now tries to get past.
Wow, John Gooding weaving around there, trying to get around Scott Sharp. That looks a bit hairy.
A lot of people having really good runs today. Jamie Gallus still in a serious, challenging position. They have both pulled away from Boris, who is running in 3rd. But look at Jamie.
Jamie Gallus holding on brilliantly here to Tommy Kendall.
He is really strong today. Again, Kendall goes for the moist part of the track. Gallus follows him and then goes back up the outside. There is Dan Banks, Tom Kendall's longtime friend and crew chief. I believe they have been 10 years together, these fellows, in a variety of race cars. 2 laps to go. Tom Kendall hanging on for all he is worth, and Jamie Gallus just feet behind with Boris Said certainly in a position to pounce.
Boris Said seems to have lost out just a little bit to these guys. You can see the car there of Tommy Kendall starting to squirm on those tires. It is definitely starting to slide. That is the tread starting to give up, getting a lot of temperature in those tread sipes now.
Ford's looking very strong. You can see Mustangs running 1st, 3rd, and 4th right now.
Tommy Kendall, though, a masterful driver, just like Ron Fellows. He's not going to be easily hustled.
That is Rob Rizzo's car. You can see so close to the end of the race, and obviously he is out. Once more onto the back straight. Tom Kendall swings over to the wet part of the track. Not much moisture left, but every little bit is helping at this point. Again, Boris Said seems to come on very strong down these straights, so that Mike Lozano motor is a real powerhouse.
Well, there's no doubt these Fords are quick in a straight line. And, of course, Tommy Kendall was really quick here on 2 occasions.
Dorsey Schroeder back up into 4th place.
And we seem to have lost Ron Fellows. He seemed to have dropped right off the pace. He must have got a car problem of some sort. Could be stuck in A gear or have a problem of some sort, because he's not like him to be out of this race at this juncture.
Well, this has a major effect on our championship position, because that man, number 11, Tom Kendall, is the leader in the Drivers' Championship this year. This will help solidify his position. It does not lock it up for him, but it certainly helps the battle. He has a
Whoa, look at him slide there. Wow. Those rear tires just starting to give up now. You watch it come through here. Slides there. Big squeegee slide there.
As
into
does
turn
Dorsey.
5, down to 2nd.
You can see there is Fellows way back, barely holding off a charging Scott Sharp right now. Fellows' car is covered with mud.
Down to
and there's a car stopping the track.
That was R.J. Valentine, wasn't it? No, stopped in a bad spot there. Into turn 7 for the last time. The key corner, one of the key corners here. He's going to come out of here well. Whoa, Tommy there sliding as he exits the corner. Not going to bother with the water this time, I wouldn't think. Just going to take him too far out of his way. He's going to stay on line and make
I would agree. And look at Jamie, how close he is.
Jamie Gallus looking to get around. Good on.
Danny Biggs can't look. He does not want to watch this. Here is Jamie's chance, David.
Oh, it's a bad place to take a chance, although Tommy Kendall did it to him under the bridge. Now's his chance to try and slide by Tommy Kendall as they come down to turn 12 for the last time. It's going to be really close.
Tommy Kendall is going to be the winner of the Road Atlanta Trans Am Classic, right to the edge of the road for the checker flag. Finally, he gets his first win of the season. Jamie Gallus, an excellent second-place finish.
What a race from Jamie Gallus.
Ron Fellows has crashed. He is stopped on the track.
I think he crashed in the dip. Hard to tell exactly where that was, but boy, oh boy.
Let's get down to Chris McClure.
Huge celebration breaking out here. I tell you, I said it to you, and I know you've thought it a lot, Dan Binks. You had to win one.
Yeah, we just tried all year and just couldn't win one. We struggled. We had the fastest car at a bunch of places. I tell you, the kids stuck in there. We tried to get on the pole. You know, we didn't get that. We got second, trying to get some points. Kendall, he just dug deep and won this one. It's awesome for All Sport and Ford. Great deal.
I tell you what, you've been with Tom and you won some races along the way, but I don't know. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I suggest it might be the sweetest.
Well, maybe the sweetest. We've been a little dry spell here, and we're real sweet about this one. We really like that, and thanks a lot.
He couldn't talk to you, but I wonder how close were those tires. What would you think?
Oh, the tires are done, I'm sure. We were just trying to keep them pumped up so we didn't think they were bad. You know, he knows what it feels like, so he did an absolutely fantastic job.
But Tommy Kendall, with this man's help, takes a big step toward a title. I don't think it's wrapped.
No, it is not wrapped, Chris, but you can tell how important it is from the emotion and the emotion that not only was in his voice, but in his eyes. Very, very important day for this young man, Danny Banks. Really, genuinely, one of the nice guys in the Trans Am Series, and there are sure a lot of them. Well, a heartbreak day for Ron Fellows. You can see he did not complete the last lap. His points championship hopes.
I think he got tagged into Scott Sharp's car there. The rear end is all hanging off. I think they had it coming together there, just coming out of turn 5.
I think you're right, too. I think that's exactly what happened. Maybe we can get Chris to talk with Scott Sharp and find out, but this is going to seriously damage championship hopes for Ron Fellows. He has worked his heart out, as has this guy, Tom Kendall. Boy, what a season. I wouldn't have thought it possible to see Tommy Kendall go through a season this far without winning.
No, I agree. It's quite extraordinary that he hasn't had a win, considering he's been on the pole so many times. He's set so many fast laps. He's always looked so competitive, but just somehow, when it's come to the day, he has not been able to take that checkered flag, and it must have been griping him somewhat severely. And of course, he's been leading the championship, but it's just not the same as winning races.
Well, we're going to get a chance to talk to these people and a lot more when we come back right after these words. Don't go away. Road Atlanta will be back in your living room in just one moment. Welcome back to Road Atlanta. The celebrations are about ready to start. There is the winner of our Ray Bestos Rising Star Award. That is John Miller, a newcomer to the series, and he's got to be a pretty happy young man today. Very nice performance, John. He's telling his crew to come on over. Let's go over to Chris McClure.
Well, I just got the cool suit off. Tommy Kendall getting out the window. He's going to stand on the roof first. And the Ford folks gathered around are certainly pleased with this moment in the Georgia sunshine, as it turned out. Tommy? We get a little bit of a shower. Precursor to the victory stand in just a couple of minutes. A few weeks ago, he said, or suggested, finally. That one you didn't keep. This one you're gonna.
Oh, no doubt about it, man. My hat's off to the Roush guys. You know, they've kept digging, and guys have had a lot of momentum on us, and everyone thinks we were just going to cruise to the championship. But tell you what, the conditions like they were today, I was flying blind. So I'd like to thank God for a nice, safe race. He must have been driving because I couldn't see where I was going, and the all-sport car was the class of the field. You know, it was a tactical race, but these guys kept me well informed. I couldn't talk back to them, so they had to figure out what I wanted. It was, you know, it's tough to see Ron have those problems on the last lap there, but we've had our share as well.
How much were the bars able to affect the car and give you the setup you needed after the red? I mean, you talk about it, but you can't do mechanical adjustments.
No, we have the adjustable bars inside the car, and you know, you can play with the brake bias a little bit, and you have to just alter your driving style. You know, the guys, I'm sure you could see me searching for every last bit of water I could find, and if I could have talked to the crew, I would have probably convinced them to put slicks on when the last yellow came out. But I guess I'm glad I didn't. But I'd like to say hi to everybody at home. I'm tickled. You know, this has been a long time coming.
Big step toward the ultimate goal.
Sure is. You know, we'll just keep digging.
Well, a worthwhile battle today for Tom Kendall because it sure tightens up the points battle. Now the lead is Chevrolet 75 over Ford at 71, and that means the final showdown is going to come at Sears Point in California. Huge, huge battle coming out there, folks. Well, this presentation of the 10th round of the 1995 SCCA Trans Am Championship is being brought to you by Chevrolet. One automotive company has won more races over the last 30 years, genuine Chevrolet. From Road Atlanta, this is Bill Adam for David Hobbs and Chris McClure, thanking you for joining us and reminding you to be with us October 8th as we bring you the grand finale from Sears Point Raceway. The final chapter, and what a story it promises to be. Coverage of the Sports Car Club of America's Trans Am Series has been presented by First Autosports Television in association with the Prime Network.